Okay, today is October 21st, 4th, 2011. We are on lesson 5.1. We've jumped ahead to chapter 5. Textbook page 214, blue notebook page 212. The first example, we're going to go over distributive properties of polynomials. So we're multiplying polynomials. The very first thing we're going to do is we're going to be multiplying our 2x by both of the terms inside the brackets. Okay? So that means I take 2x, I multiply by 3x, and I multiply by negative 5. So essentially what happens is I get 2x times 3x, okay, plus 2x times negative 5. I'm going to work both of those out. 2x times 3x is 6x squared. Okay? What happens is I multiply the two coefficients by each other, and I got 6. And when I multiply an x by an x, I get x squared. And the other one, plus 2x times negative 5 is going to give me negative 10x. And that one, there is only constants, so I multiplied the two coefficients, 2 and negative 5. I got negative 10, and I just brought down the x. I can simplify this with 2x squared minus 10x. We don't need that plus sign. Okay, we're going to be expanding once again, and it's the same idea. Now, they use an acronym for this. It's called FOIL, F-O-I-L. Okay? And this is what these things mean. F stands for the first terms, okay? So if you guys recall in the last question, I was only multiplying, we'll go back to it, one term by two terms in the brackets. In this example, I have two terms, and I have to actually multiply them both by each of the terms in the second bracket. So F stands for first, which means I multiply both of the first terms in the bracket. So I'm going to write them in red. I'll be multiplying x times 2x. Then I'm going to add. I'm going to smooth this over a bit. O stands for the outside terms. The two outside terms would be x and 3. So I'd be multiplying x times positive 3. Then I'll add. I stands for the inside terms. The inside terms are opposite of the outside terms. They are 2 and 2x. And finally, L stands for the last terms, which are 2 and 3. Okay? So I multiply 2 times 3. If you notice, each of the terms in each brackets have been used twice. Okay? I'm going to multiply what's down there. I'm going to do the rest in black now. X times 2x is 2x squared, plus 3 times x is 3x. 2 times 2x is 4x. And 2 times 3 is 6. I then combine my like terms. Now, what's important here, this is squared, and there are no other variables that are squared, so this is a term by itself. The second term has x to the power of 1 and 4x to the power of 1. Those are both like terms, so I can combine those. And 6 is the only constant number, so I can't do anything with that. So I bring down the two terms where I can't combine anything. 2x squared plus 3x plus 4x is 7x plus 6. Okay? So I've multiplied all of the terms there using first, outside, inside, and last terms. I've expanded and simplified. So we've done FOIL method. And remember, the FOIL method refers to first terms, then multiplying outside terms, then the inside terms, and then the last term, so that every term is used twice. Another method that is used is called the rainbow method. Okay? And the way the rainbow method is I use the first term in the bracket and I multiply it by the first term, and then I multiply it by the second term. So in other words, I use this first term, and I multiply it by both of the terms in the other bracket. You're going to get the same answer, it's just another way of thinking of it. So x times x will be our first ones, plus x times 4. Now that I've exhausted the first one, so I've multiplied by both terms in the second, I then take the second term in the first bracket, and I multiply it by both terms in the other bracket. So I end up with negative 2 times x plus negative 2 times 4. I multiply my terms. X times x is x squared. 4 times x is 4x. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x. And negative 2 times 8 is negative 8. Now, if we go back to our integer rules we learned at the beginning of the year, if you notice I have a positive sign, then a negative sign. What can I just replace this positive sign with? Negative. So I'm just going to simplify that. X squared plus 4x minus 2x minus 8. Okay? And now I combine like terms. If you notice again, the only two like terms are in the middle. The other ones don't have any like terms. So we have x squared. 4x minus 2x is positive 2x minus 8. It's the same idea as FOIL. They just use a different name for it. Okay, the next method we're learning is the algebra tile method. So in this method, what needs to happen is I need to represent the first bracket vertically and the second bracket horizontally. So in the first bracket, we have an x. Oh, I gotta turn them? I guess so. So I take x. I'm just gonna turn it. I place it along the side. This block represents an x. I also have 2. I guess this represents 1. I'm going to take 2 1s. Each one represents 1 of 2. So 1 plus 1 is 2. So this is what we're multiplying by, okay? In our second bracket, we have 2 x's. So I'm going to be taking 2 x's. And 3. So I'm going to take 3 blocks and place them aside. This is the algebra tile method. Now, what's going to happen now is I'll be multiplying across. So I'm going to multiply this x by that x, by that x, by 1, and by 1. So we're going to try to make sense of this. We know that x times x will be x squared. In other words, that's represented with this block. Okay? And I do the same thing again. X times x, which is x squared. X times 1. What's 1 times anything?
It's the same thing.
It's not 1, it's...
The one that you're multiplying by 1.
Yes. So 1 times x will give us x. So every time I multiply x times 1, I'm going to get another x. Okay? So I've multiplied x by x, so I got x squared. X by the other x squared again. And x times 1 3 times gives me 3 x's. The next thing I have to do is I need to multiply 1 by each of the numbers in the horizontal column. So 1 times x is going to give us x, just like we had before. 1 times x is going to give us x again. 1 times 1, what will that give us? Just 1. So I multiply 1 times 1 3 times. I end up with 3 ones. Same idea again. I repeat it. 1 times x, 1 times x, and 1 times all of the ones. We're going to end up with the same types of answers. 1 times x will give us x. 1 times x will give us x. And 1 times 1 will constantly give us 1s. So now that I've put all these blocks together, what we do to find the answer is I simply just count each of the blocks. So to start off, how many x squareds do I have? 2. So I have 2x squared. How many x's do I have? 7. Positive 7x. And then how many 1s do I have? 6 plus 6. That is our answer. Anything underneath here, we just count the number that we have, and we'll end up with our answer below. So once again, we need to represent our brackets along the columns. Now, it doesn't actually matter which bracket I pull on which column, just as long as I'm consistent. So this time, I'll take the first bracket, and I'm going to put it on the top column. We have negative 2x. So in other words, I have 2 of negative x. I have 2 of them. Each of these represents negative x. When you put them both together, I'll have negative 2x. I also have positive 2. So I put 2 red blocks or 2 1s to represent that. So I've now represented the first bracket on our top column. 2 block? Now vertically we need to represent x minus 4. That's a positive x. So we're going to use positive x. Just going to flip it. And negative 4. So I'm going to use 4 negative 1s. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So we've set them all up. Now what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be multiplying. Alright, now when we go to multiply these, I still have to know positive and negatives when we multiply. So I have positive x times negative x. That's going to give me positive or negative x squared. A negative times a positive is a negative, so we have negative x squared. Same with this one here. Positive x times negative x gives us negative x squared. X times positive 1 and x times positive 1. Those are both going to be positive x. So I put those 2 blocks in. And if you guys notice, the widths and the length make sense here. We have a width of x and a length of x. And we have a width of 1 and a length of x, okay? It's to help you visually. Next, I have negative 1 times negative x. What is negative 1 times negative x going to be? It's going to give us positive x. We have a negative times a negative, okay? Same thing happens again. Positive x again. Negative 1 times positive 1 is going to give us negative 1. So we're filling out our slots. The next 3 in a row are going to be the exact same answers we had before. Negative x times negative 1 is positive x. And negative 1 times times 1 is positive 1s. So we're just going to end up repeating the exact same answers across. Oh, oopsie, sorry guys. Our answers are the exact same. Once we've done that, I'm just going to count to see what I have below. So, of x squareds, I have 2 of them. How would I represent that numerically? Negative 2x squared. How many positive x's do I have?
2x.
2, 3, 4, 10. So I have 10x. And how many negative ones do I have? 8. Minus 8. That's how we represent it with negatives.